Good morning. It's Freedom Friday. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. You're ready because it is a awesome day. I'm ready. It doesn't matter to me that it's supposed to be raining or any of that great stuff. It is time. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I pray that you are all doing well. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in, Miss Loretta. Good morning, Nora. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Do me a favor as you guys come on, go ahead and like and share because we are ready. We are ready. We are ready. You guys see what our topic is this morning. It is a few good men and women, and it's Freedom Friday with yours truly, Dr. K. So if you don't know who Dr. K is and you're like, I was just scrolling by and I saw this lady, my name is Dr. K. I am the proud founder of Freedom by Design, and I guess I could say co-founder because it was definitely a God thing. So thank you guys for being on this morning. I have been called to engage, encourage, and empower, and that's what I want to do this morning. And this morning, our topic is a few good men and women. So I want to make sure that we don't forget. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So as you're coming on, go ahead and like and share for us. Like and share. I hope you're ready because I'm definitely ready. I'm ready to get this thing going. Hey, Tish. Good morning, Mama Tony. Good morning, Mom. Good morning, Lynn. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, Nora. Do me a favor, guys. Go ahead and just click that share button because I want to just jump right into this thing. And I always love the love. So when I see those little hearts floating up, that makes a sister feel good in the morning. So, what are we talking about this morning? Whew. This week, well, this year, I would say we started about 3 weeks ago. My camp group, which is a women's Bible study group, we started with a year-long study of women in the Bible. So Wednesday, we were talking about Lot's wife. And what we do is every week, a different woman leads the conversation. So we're super excited. And thank you so much, Mama Tony, for sharing that text with us, because that's what we use to kickstart our conversation. So let's go ahead and see, what is it that they're talking about? What is it that they're doing? So this week, when we were talking about Lot's wife, it was very, very interesting for us because, when we were talking about it, we were like, well, she don't even have a name. They just call her Lot's wife. Like, what's that about? That's a whole situation there, but not for us to talk about on this morning. So this morning when I was getting up and I'm in my meditation and I'm like, okay, Lord, what we doing? And he said, go back to Lot's wife because there are some things that we need to unpack there. And I'm like, but we talked about it already. We processed it. And he was like, yeah, but I need you to share it with some more people. So as I'm talking this morning, I want you to be able to go to your Bibles and pull up Genesis, and you're going to need to read, especially around chapter 18. So I'm going to give you some backdrop. So in Genesis 18, what was going on? We know who Abraham was, okay? The father of nations. So God was getting ready to, put judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham had family in there. In particular, he had Lot, his nephew was there. Now, God made promises to Abraham about his family and what was going to happen and all of that great stuff. So in this conversation of sorts, and I would almost kind of, when I'm thinking about it, I think of it almost like a parent. Good morning, Pastor Butler, like a parent and a child having a conversation. And God is about to, bring judgment on Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham jumps in and he intercedes. And he's like, but God, Lord, what if there are, because I'm talking about Sodom and Gomorrah, almost 250,000 people living in this city. That's a lot of people. And he's like, but what if it's 50 people there who are righteous? Would you still, kill, destroy everybody, even if it's 50 people there who are righteous? And so him and God are going back and forth. And he was like, well, what if it's 40? Well, what if it's 30? What if it's 20? Like, he didn't stop. Like, Abraham went back to God 6 times interceding. So I want us to just remember that, because sometimes we take it lightly when a person says, I'm interceding on your behalf, or sometimes we say we're interceding and we're really not. It's not about doing it one time. It's a consistent effort. It's really surrendering and giving of yourself to really do this. And Abraham was like, he went back to God 6 times. And it was so much about that in just that part of the story. And God said, you know what? if there are only 10 righteous in the city, I won't pass judgment. I won't destroy I won't, not even pass judgment. He will not destroy the city. And I want us to think about that. So essentially what God was saying is, I'm looking for a few good men and women. Now, all of us, some of us, most of us, we got a Sodom. It might not be the same context as that Sodom and Gomorrah, but what I want you to think as I'm talking, what's your Sodom? What's that thing that you're holding on to? Now, Lot was Abraham's nephew, and he was living in Sodom. He was not just living in Sodom. As we were studying on Wednesday, it talked about the fact that he was living comfortably in an uncomfortable situation. Who amongst us is living uncomfortably in a uncomfortable situation, but we're comfortably living in it? So that means we know it's not right. We know what's going on around us is not right, but our mind says, well, as long as I don't do it, I can indulge and I can be around people who don't indulge in it, and it's okay, but I'm not going to say anything. And God says, no, it's not going to be able to work that way. Now, Lot could have chosen anywhere to move with his family, but he wanted fertile land. He wanted the best of the best. So understand, they were living in Sodom, and he was not happy about what was going on there, but he was happy about the benefits that he was reaping. He was happy about the fact that they were wealthy and they had everything that they need. So again, he was uncomfortably comfortable. And when I heard that, I was like, man, so many of us are living in situations where, you know what, I don't really like it, but I'm comfortable because I know it. And we'll even hear people say, well, I know this right here. I don't know what's over there. And God is saying, I'm not asking you to know. I'm asking you to know me. I'm asking you to trust me. So if I say, if you're trusting me, then you're not going to put yourself in a position or situation where it's not working out for my good. And by my good, I mean his good. So it was like, okay, Sodom, and let me paint this picture because I had to really digest it. Sodom was so bad that heaven had to send angels just to go check it out. Like, I can't believe it. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to send some angels to go check this thing out. Good morning, Gifty. As you guys come on, do like and share. So the angels went, and when they went to Sodom, Lot was at the front gate. Now, how many of us know that that was not by happen chance at all? So that right there for me, I was like, that was a whole word. How about wherever you are, whatever you're walking into, wherever your feet are planted right now, it is not happening it's not by chance. It's not coincidence. It's a part of his whole word and will. Good morning, Bernadette. Good morning, Yvonne. And guys, on Wednesday, my sister Vern led this message, but it was so many levels to it. So it's a group of us, and we get to talk and digest and unpack this thing. So Lot was at the gate. He greeted them. And back in biblical antiquity, what was real important is if you invited somebody into your home, you were to cover them. You were to protect them, to make sure that while they were under your roof, nothing would happen to them. And same thing. So he greeted them, he brought them in, and he had a little anxiousness because he knew about the city. So understand that you at the gate, you waiting on these people. He don't know that they're angels, but he knew that they were men of a different caliber. They were not like the people in the city. So he's like, I'm gonna bring them in, I'm gonna protect them. And he got them in the house. He was protecting them. Everything was well. Lot's wife, which we don't know her name, we just gonna call Sister Lot's wife. How about that? That's something right there. But anyway, he brought them in, and then men from the city came knocking on the door like, hey, we want them, send them out. And Lot was like, no, I have daughters in the house who are virgins. I'll send them to you and you can do with them as you please, but not these men. And they were like, no, we don't want your virgin daughters. We want those men. We want those guests in your house. So understand, just even that, for him to offer his daughters as opposed to these men who he didn't know, but it speaks to culturally where they were in that time and about that covering in that house. So it got real tense, and the men were trying to come in, and the angels was like, you know what, enough is enough. We've seen enough. We heard it was bad, but now we see for ourselves. And they blinded them temporarily, and they said, listen, Lot, you're gonna have to get all your folks, anybody in this city that's connected to you, you need to go get them right now, because y'all gonna have to get out of here because we're about to destroy the whole place. What? He's seen them blind these men. He goes to go get his son-in-laws and tell them what's going on. They dismiss it because guess what? They live in their best life in Sodom. So they like, I'm good. Remember, God is just looking for a few good men and women. So it ain't a whole bunch that's going to do what he need to do, but he needs that targeted group to cover. So he goes back. He's like, oh my goodness. And in my mind, I'm like, so that means Lot had other daughters besides the two virgins. They grab Lot and the daughters and the wife, and they have to pull them out and say, do not stop, do not look back. Yeah, they didn't want a woman, Pastor Jerry. How about that? That he grabbed them and still had to grab them and was like, y'all gotta go. Don't look back, don't collect $200, keep going no matter what. Don't stop, don't do any of that. So in the planes, don't stop, don't look, nothing. The son-in-laws ended up staying, and you know what? God did judge. He destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, and Lot and his daughters, they kept running and they kept going. And when they got where they were supposed to be, they were like, okay, you know, imagine that y'all get somewhere, y'all start counting like we used to do at the fair. Like, okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, somebody missing. Who missing? And then they got that feeling in their stomach, probably like, okay, the daughter's like, where my mama at? Where's my mom? And when they looked back, they saw a silhouette, a pillar of salt. It was her, because guess what she had done? She had turned around. So this morning, I want to ask you, what is God telling you? Where is he telling you to go to move, but your feet are stuck where you are? You're so busy holding on to what you did in the past. You're so busy holding on to, you know what? I worked, I built this up from the ground. Like I got this thing going. God, it's not time for me to go. Maybe God ain't telling me that. And God is saying, I asked you to start it. That's innovation. You know, one person might start it and then you hand it off. He isn't asking you to sit. He might need you to start something somewhere else. So when he says move, and I thank you, God, this morning, as my sister Tanisha talked about, that we got to be obedient. You might start the thing, you might build something, but you need to leave it when it's time to go. And just like he provided for you in that season, in that situation, he will provide for you in the next situation. So you don't have to worry. And I can just imagine Lot's wife, you know, she's like, oh my God, we rich. We got everything we need here. Yeah, they're a little crazy. Yeah, they doing some stuff that's not morally correct, but it's not influencing our house. So we good over here and we making money off of it. So let's keep winning. And I'm popping. And God is like, no, I'm looking for a few good men and good women. Just a few. And as I started really going back and digging deep, I'm like, he said, not 50, but if there are just 10 righteous people in the city, it would be spared. Just 10. And when I'm thinking like 250,000 people, you telling me he couldn't find 10? Like he couldn't find 12, 15 people who were right, but they were doing all kind of stuff. But even more than that, when God's taught, when he downloaded into me a few good women and men, it was more about the effective intercession. And that's why I started in saying, when somebody's saying they're interceding on your behalf, or when we are as intercessors and we tell somebody that, hey, I'm interceding, it's not a one-time thing. We have to make sure that we're able to come to God in a few ways. Number one, like Abraham, he did it modestly. He had no idea what God was going to do. God knew what God was going to do. He knew how that thing was unfolding, but Abraham came on behalf of his people and he was modest. He came with humility. He didn't demand that God do something. How many of us in our prayers, we're demanding that God, Lord, you need to do this. You better do this. You need to do that. And like we're checking the checklist. You got to do X, Y, Z. He didn't. He came humbly. And he was like, you know what, Lord, I don't know how this thing is going to work out, but I'm coming to you on behalf of my people. So he did it with a humbleness because he understood he was Abraham and God was God. He's Abraham and God was God. So we got to make sure. Yes, Burn. They began to tolerate it. They were okay. What toleration leads to, yes, normalization. Because sometimes we get, so it's like, okay, yeah, I see that thing and it don't even bother me no more when you start to be okay with it. And it wasn't okay. But then another thing, Abraham was persistent. He kept coming back. He went back to God 6 times on behalf of his people, trying to say, Lord, if it's 50, if it's 40, what if it's 30, what if it's 20, what if it's just 10? But you said, Lord, what if? And God was like, you know what? I hear you, because Abraham was also persuasive. we got to understand his request wasn't based on him. It was based on God's character. It was based on who he knew God to be, who he knew God was sovereign. He knew who his God was. And ultimately, yes, Sodom was destroyed, but it wasn't at the fault of Abraham. It wasn't because he didn't pray right. It wasn't that. It was just because at the end of that prayer, and the way that we should be praying, whenever we're asking and we're pleading and we're interceding, at the end of it all, we say, Lord, your will be done. Your perfect will. Not your permissive will. Lord, don't do it just because you have pity on me. Lord, I want you to do it because that is what your will is. No matter what I think should happen, no matter what it looks like to me, no matter what it feels like to me, and help me be able to understand and walk in being okay. Help me be able to, not worry. Help me be able to praise you even in the midst of the circumstance, even when it doesn't go the way I want it to go. And God is saying, that's why I'm looking for a few good men and women. He's not looking for the people who are going to beg, plead, and not be able to sow. He's looking for those who are willing to surrender, complete surrender, who are going to lay it out on the line, not just for our family, but for all families, for those who we know and don't know. That's right. They knew him to be Jehovah Jireh, our whole provider. Come on now. So you got to make sure that when you're looking, or when you're moving and you have your eyes fixed, that you don't miss what God is saying. When he says it's time to go, baby girl, my brother, it's time to go. It doesn't matter what you did in this season. And I just have to ask, what does it look like to you? Do you have moral courage? As Bernadette just put in the text, she said, we began to normalize things. What are you normalizing that we know is not okay? What are you saying? Okay, I accept it. It's not going to bother me. It's not in my house. Are you committed to praying for others? Are you really willing to intercede? Are you willing to surrender? Are you willing to take on that weight? Because when we intercede, sometimes that weight, we get the weight. And then now we need somebody to pray for us. But you know what? It's complete surrender, Lord, whatever, because I understand that your people who you call by your name, sometimes we're going to fall. And you already know we're going to fall, but I'm willing to surrender myself. I'm willing to sacrifice time, energy. I'm willing to sacrifice my resources for your people, for your will, for your purpose. So as I asked earlier, what's your Sodom? Is it work? Business? Is it a relationship? What is it? Because he is asking us to go out and be the salt and sprinkle that salt all over the world. They're waiting on us. Just a few. It's not going to be the many. It's just a few. Some going to talk about it, but they're not going to be about it. And you'll be able to know the difference. Some are going to say, yeah, I'm going to do it. Yeah, I'm about that life. But when it comes down to it, when you have to be up 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, laying on your face and tears are running down your face, are you going to say, well, no, I'm going to go ahead and go back to sleep? Or are you going to get up and are you going to be obedient? Are you going to be about that life? Because this morning, family, God is looking for a few good men and women, because he already know that the masses aren't going to do it, but the few can save the many. 10 could have saved 250,000. That's some math for you right there. I don't care how you look at it. Guys, are you willing? So this morning, as I was looking at, I said, you know what? I still had to go back to Lot's wife, even though I know my word was on a few good men and women and all of that great stuff, because in our study, I still don't understand, like, what made her look back? We had a few different perspectives. Maybe she was thinking that her daughters or her children were behind her, or, maybe she was looking back and not believing that God was going to do what the angel said he was going to do. Maybe she just needed to see it for herself. How many times has somebody told you don't look back? Have you been in a casual conversation situation? You sitting at dinner and somebody said, oh, don't look over there. And what do? You look. Why is that our habit when we're warned? Because he gave many warnings. As I was writing in the text, I'm like, it was warning after warning. Flee for your lives. Don't look back. Don't stop anywhere in the plane. Flee to the mountains or you will be swept away. So you got the warning and you got what would happen if you didn't heed the warning. The others were running and going and they did not look back and stop until. So Lot understood. He knew him to be Jehovah Jireh. He said, you know what? I believe, I see, I saw, I'm going. I got my daughters. Let's make it happen. We're not looking back. Wifey, come on. But wifey kept looking back for whatever reason. I don't know. But family, that's a whole word and testimony for somebody. Stop looking back. Stop looking back when God is telling you to go forward. Stop romanticizing what was in the past. And God is trying to bring you to the new. We're like, oh my goodness, but I did so well at that job and it just really worked for me. And God is saying, I got your own business for you. Or I have a better job. And it's like, well, I don't want to go to that company. I don't know anybody. I'm going to have to start from the bottom. And God's saying, because I got some people at the bottom that I need you to touch. That's where the work is going to be. We got to be obedient to where he is sending us, not where we want to go. We got to be obedient to where his work is for that he has for us, not our plan. Freedom isn't by our design. He designs our freedom. So let's be very clear on that. He asked Dr. K to engage, encourage, and empower. I didn't create freedom by design. Freedom by design is God's. He says, sis, you are going to engage, encourage, and you're going to empower. You're going to share. You're going to be transparent. You're going to be vulnerable. Sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be exposed. And boy, did he expose me. And he continues to do so. Can everybody handle that? No. Did I say, yeah, Lord, use me? Yes. Am I grateful that I'm surrounded by a core group of people that can help lift me up and I can lift them up, that they can pour into me and I can pour into them? Grateful. So family, as my sister Avro always says, keep that circle tight. Look at who's around you, because God is looking for a few good men and good women. You shouldn't be looking at your circle and saying, well, I know that it's 5 of us, so I think we got 2 and a possible. We ain't playing spades. We're talking about salvation. We're talking about lives. God is like, I want to run a Boston. I want the whole thing. I'm looking for the group to be tight and right. A few good men and or women. That's all it's going to take. 10 could have saved 250,000. Are you going to do what you've been called to do? I'm going to end with this prayer. Very simple. Family, I love y'all, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday for Motivation Monday. Next week on Wednesday, we're going to have a beautiful soul with us. You know, on Wisdom Wednesday, we learn about different things and different people's walks, and we're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about, you know, some financial freedom. What are we doing with our resources? That's what we're going to talk about on Wednesday. And my sister's going to be here with us. I'll post the picture soon so you can see it. Yes, Renee, he will definitely order our steps. He will never leave us or forsake us. The question is, will we completely and totally surrender to him? Yes. Oh Lord, grant that we may always have enough good men and women in our midst to leaven the whole society and commend it to you, your loving and patient care. Amen. Lord, we just want to make sure we got a few. 10 could have saved 250,000. Imagine how many 50 can save. Imagine how many 100 can save. Good men and good women. Are you willing to go out and be a fisher of men? Are you willing to go out and do his work and his word? Don't let anybody change you. Don't give the devil no credit. Don't say, oh, the devil busy. He trying to have his way. Don't give him no credit. Will you be one of the few? That's the question. It's a simple question. Family, I love you guys. God bless you. Have a fantastic Friday and a great weekend. Be safe out there and be careful. I posted a picture on my Facebook. This young lady, her name is Diane Dodds. She has gone missing, 14 years old. We are praying for her safe return. We are praying for her family, for their strength. We are praying God's will in the whole situation. So I love you, family. Please keep your eyes open. Pay attention to your surroundings. There's a lot going on. Cover your house, cover your family, cover your neighbors, cover your friends, cover people that you come in contact with. Today, pick up the phone and call somebody, check on them and see how they're doing. And just pray for them randomly. You don't have to announce it. Just do it randomly. God is looking for the few. Will you be one? God bless you, family. Have a great day. Bye-bye.